What up guys, Shempy, and I'm bringing you this rivalry video. We've got the game Ohio State versus Michigan, one of my favorite rivalries, and playing with my favorite team, the Michigan Wolverines, switching to a multiple base offense because they did switch coaches. Rich Rod is out and Brady Hoke is in. Hoke traditionally ran more of a pro style offense, but has been saying that he's going to use Denard Robinson in a lot of different ways, so I'm going with the multiple base offense, which provides some running plays for the quarterback, but also a lot of passing plays and under the center quarterback plays. We know the offense was certainly not a problem for Michigan last year, being one of the top offensive teams in the country. The defense, though, struggled the entire season. It didn't matter who they were playing, they struggled basically everywhere in the field, from the linebackers to the defensive backs. Basically, the only sign of consistency was Mike Martin playing that nose tackle position, one of the strongest players in college football. But even with a dominant offense like they had, still struggled a little bit in the Big Ten. So I had to prove myself a little bit against this Ohio State defense, who is always solid, bringing some great linebackers every year and some really solid defensive backs also. Had to pick and choose my battles because Denard Robinson, really, he's got a very strong arm but isn't always as accurate as you like to see. So I'm trying to get a lot of short passes and hopefully opening up the deep pass. And you gotta watch out for his running ability. He's so fast and so dangerous as a quarterback. Getting into the end zone, even though they run the defense pretty well. But you gotta watch out when Terrell Pryor steps onto the field. One of the most physically gifted players in the college football, but certainly has struggled at times getting the ball where it needs to be. But he has a couple of great running backs in Brandon Sane and Dan Herron, who give him a lot of support. But finding the open man here, who breaks one tackle and works his way downfield, trying to employ that bend but don't break defense like I did when I was using Auburn. Not working out too well though. I have a lot of holes on the defensive side of the ball. Luckily, the injuries aren't too much of a problem. I started this game just as an exhibition, so a lot of my defensive backs who are injured in real life are still in the game. Troy Wolfel, the main guy I guess I'm thinking about right now. And it will certainly help to have him in the defensive backfield, breaking up plays, but still unable to stop this run. And oh my gosh, look at him go. Spinning out of two tackles, and one of them out of Jonas Mouton, who was drafted in the second round by the San Diego Chargers. One of the surprise picks of the draft. He does need a lot of help. And he was certainly a risky pick, but when he makes plays, he makes some big plays, and you'll see him a little bit more later in this game. Trying to go back to work a little bit on the offense and doing what Denard Robinson does best, getting to the outside, and he doesn't surprisingly run that often when there's a design passing play. One of the things I think he needs to work on, because he could be so dangerous when he gets outside of the contain. But still, as I've always tried to say, don't be too predictable, and trying to run a little bit with Michael Shaw, who's a really great running back, someone they probably won't use as much. Now that they've switched to a different offense, going to look for a lot of inside runs and using a bigger back, probably more of a Stephen Hopkins type. But still trying not to go downfield too much, get Denard Robinson at least somewhat consistent plays, and trying to run a slant play there did not work out too well, but then going deep a little bit downfield, not too much space, going for the run, once again just nothing there, trying to look downfield, just get the ball out of my hands. And giving it up on third down and punting on the play. And he's looking downfield right away. Terrell Pryor finding Devier Posey on the sideline route. And if they were smart, they would probably go to a passing play just about every down, because my safeties really aren't too good. We've got Cam Gordon, who lets a lot of people get behind him. And then we've got Jordan Kovacs, a walk-on player. But look at Troy Wolfel making a big play on second and long, and now bringing up the third and long. They're running this screen play, which has rarely worked, only bringing three men, and one of them is covering the screen, but that does not matter because all it takes is covering that one route and you are good to go. Now getting the ball to Tay Odoms, really a quick guy and a little bit underrated because he is so small. But you see a lot of these slot receivers making it into the NFL and making some big time plays. And one guy I'm thinking of in particular, Deshaun Jackson, doesn't have a lot of size, but his speed and playmaking ability definitely makes up for it. And now Tay Odoms makes this catch for the first down. You can see Denard Robinson giving him the pass right where it needs to be on the sideline. Only needs to get 1 foot in because it's college, and he will do just that. Now with that said, as you can tell, I've been throwing out a lot of names and a lot of different things that have been going on with the Michigan program. That's because they are my team. I do know a lot more about them than I know about other teams. And because of that, I was able to change the roster up a little bit. As you can see, Tate Forcier is not starting. He actually transferred to Miami. But look at Denard looking downfield to Coger. Coger making an awesome catch. Another guy that I don't think they utilize very well in the Rich Rod offense. He's really a pretty dominant force as a tight end, making a lot of great catches, but also dropping some easy balls. But I'm sure with a little bit of time left here in the second quarter, Ohio State would like to get a little bit closer before halftime, and they will do just that. Looking downfield for the running back, making a great play, and just abusing my safeties a little bit. Kenny Demmons misses a tackle right there. And they're in pretty good position to make a field goal at least, and hopefully get something else. No, Terrell Breyer wants to look downfield, gets hit as he throws. Kenny Demmons misses the big interception. But now trying to run some different formations, bringing a little bit of heat with the linebackers, and it doesn't pay off. They do hit the man out of the backfield and getting close to a first down, but I just have to hold him on this play and hold him to a field goal. Terrell Pryor does not make the smartest throw here, throwing into double coverage between Jonas Mouton and Cam Gordon. They will hit that field goal, but there's still 24 seconds left. You know, I like to do a little bit with the time that I have before halftime. Getting an okay return with Calvin Grady, but that sets me up for a big play looking for Junior Hemingway. They're running a zone coverage. That safety does not get over fast enough. Hemingway does not have a lot of speed, but makes up for it with a lot of jump balls and a lot of, I guess, shifty moves. It's kind of surprising because he doesn't have a lot of speed and doesn't have a lot of quickness, but he has a lot of broken tackles. And now getting flushed out of the pocket with Denard puts me in great position to find Coger deep. 2 seconds left. I will take this field goal into halftime. And it has been a great first half for me, stopping them a little bit on defense and doing my part on offense to at least keep the ball away from them. So now I basically go into this mode where I obviously try to keep them from scoring, but also start running up the clock, which is surprising. Starting the second half, that's what you get when you have 5-minute quarters. You start running the clock down the second you take the lead. And the longer I can keep the ball away from this Ohio State offense, the better, because they can make some big-time plays very easily, especially considering the defense. But Jordan Kovacs, one of the more sure tacklers on the Michigan roster, even though he was a walk-on. But covering with linebackers continues to be a problem as Kenny Demmons is a little bit out of position. And now bringing Woolfolk on the cornerback blitz seems to work very well. Bringing down Brandon Sane for a minimal gain, and then Mike Martin finally starting to step up. This offensive line of Ohio State has been killing me the entire game. Defensive line has not been able to get much, but holding them to a 4th and 5, excuse me, missing the long field goal and giving me a little bit more of an opportunity to run the time off the clock. And Michael Shaw has played pretty well all game, following the blocks very well there, and then getting a solid gain on the play and putting me in a pretty good position to continue running the clock out. But I will try for this screen play, usually a pretty sure play to at least stay in bounds, but they cover it very well. I go back to it though, and pretty decently set up, but a couple of missed blocks leaves me to only pick up about 6 on the play, excuse me. And now facing a 3rd and long situation, one of those plays where Shaw just turns and just drops the ball completely. Super sad, but looking for a great punt here. And look at Will Hagerup, and then Backey, who isn't even on the roster technically, putting them in a very difficult position and bringing the blitz. And Jonas Mouton gets the tackle in the backfield. Safety on the play. First time I've ever gotten a safety on Heisman difficulty. Pretty proud of it myself. But after the safety kick goes out of bounds, in really great field position now, running it with Michael Shaw up the gut, and continuing to run the clock out here in the 3rd quarter and hopefully into the 4th. But that safety was a big-time play, giving me 2 points and the ball back. Those 2 points, though, were very important because that now gives me a 9-point lead, so they're going to have a touchdown and then some more points, so it's a 2-possession game. Now dropping back with Denard Robinson, finding Tay Odoms in the middle of the field. He's usually in great position to make a play, and Michael Shaw just inches his way past the defensive line and gets that first down. I'm really quite impressed with myself that I'm playing these Ohio State Buckeyes so well because they're usually so difficult to beat. And if you haven't noticed, I did choose a neutral site once again, just not wanting to give any team the advantage. Now facing the 3rd and long, getting flushed out of the pocket with Denard, and Kevin Koger comes up with another big play. He's got 3 really big catches in this game. He's doing a great job, and I'm hoping that Brady Hoke and the rest of the staff that he brought in are going to use him and the rest of the tight ends well. Something they said they wanted to try to do, but I hope they keep their word. Now running around with Denard, 40 yards in the backfield, and then finding my way up to about the 1-yard line. Not something I recommend, but Denard Robinson is one of the few players that can do that. And on 3rd and 1, not able to get the touchdown with Michael Shaw. He's a little bit smaller of a back. Couldn't force his way up into the defensive line, but getting the field goal and taking the 12-point lead, which is something that I will certainly take with 1.5 minutes left. But they are going back to work in the passing game. That's the place that I'm definitely the most vulnerable. As Terrell Pryor shows off the arm strength a little bit, finding his man on the play. He's making a couple of little moves and finds his way out of bounds. Ohio State is not ready to give up on this game, and a big sack on the play by the man Jones, who just gave up that giant pass earlier, and bringing Troy Woolfolk, who provides a little bit of pressure, and then Craig Rowe almost finishes the play, but gets the holding. And that pushes Ohio State way back, 3rd and 27 now. And I'm telling my defensive backs to play off the ball. They're all playing deep, and Troy Woolfolk making another great play, as you can see here, in really good position to just make a play in the back of the end zone. He was certainly missed this season, but we do get him back for next season, so that is a definite plus. And now once again, TP looking deep, but Woolfolk is there, almost tips it into another player's hands. But it looks like this is going to be the end of the game. We do get the victory, taking that victory formation. And one of the better executed games I have played, and it definitely needed to be that way, considering the differences in talent between Ohio State and Michigan, and definitely a game that has been one-sided for the past like 6 or 7 years. Ohio State has been just dominating the series, but doing a decent job keeping Terrell Pryor in check, giving him no touchdowns on the day. He never ran the ball, which is something that I think Ohio State could do a little bit better. He's so dangerous on the run. But I guess Ohio State is still pretty successful at what they do, and that's attributed to Jim Tressel. Even though they are in a little bit of trouble, Tressel's looking to miss a few games next season, along with Terrell Pryor and some other big-name players on their offense. They should be able to come back and win all those games, but we'll see if there are any further repercussions on Tressel and the rest of the team. But hope you enjoyed this video. See ya!